Yeah, we're ready to start. Today's Amud is Daf Yud Amud Beis. So we're going to learn Daf Yud Amud Beis. But we're up to the last line of Daf Yud Amud Aleph, the two dots, talking about the Mishnah. The Mishnah said, that they would prepare the paths to the Ari Miklat. Which means preparing the way. We'll see the Gemara. Let's see. So we bring a brisa which says the same, kind of elaborates on what the Mishnah says. Many brises, that's what the brises do. The Mishnah says something. The brisa says the same thing, but barichos and b'fratius a little bit more in detail. So here we have an example of such a brisa. Tanya Belez ben Yaakov Oimer. Belez ben Yaakov says Miklot hayakasav al parashas drachim. That the word Miklot was written al parashas drachim by the crossroads. In other words, the brisa is just elaborating what the Mishnah said. The Mishnah said, that one would prepare the kind of the direct the paths mizul to the Ari Miklat. So here we say, what does this mean? It means to say that they would signpost. They would put the word Miklat. The word Miklat hayakasal parashas drachim was written by the crossroads. The yifne l'sham. Amr of Kahana Maikra. What's the pasuk? What's the makar? What's the pasuk which teaches us that they would signpost? So he says, Tachin l'cha derech. That asay hachon l'derech. Tachin l'cha derech means prepare the way, make a preparation for the way. In other words, prepare the person that he can. Prepare the person for his travels. Like give him a signpost, give him a map. So there was a sign Miklot in the Parashas Drachim. I'm just thinking now. The Lechura, the Rav Kahana is saying what the pasuk says, right? Well, the Mishnah says. The Mishnah says Shenemar Tachin l'cha derech. Okay. What do you say? The Brisa just elaborates a little bit more on the Brisa, but on the Mishnah. But if Kahana says Micro, what's the marker for the Brisa says? He says the same pasuk that the Mishnah says. Lechura Ma'ikama. What's Rav Kahana adding that it's not in the Mishnah? Okay. I'm not sure the answer to that. Yeah. So the Brisa is Moisif on the Mishnah. Verstande? I'm asking what's Rav Kahana, Rav Huna, whatever. When Rav Kahana says Micro, what's the marker for this? And he says Tachin l'cha derech lechura. It's the same passage which the Mishnah is saying. Actually, he's going on the Brisa, right? He's not going on the Mishnah. Okay. Rav Chama Mechanina Pasa. So let's just see Rashi before we go further. Rashi on the top of the Amud. Miklat hayikasa prashas drachim b'chol makom sheishnei drachim mefutzalim. Whenever there was two paths which would split up, echad payne le'er miklat. One of them goes to le'er miklat. He eats takor b'yis derech. There was a piece of wood which was stuck in by that road. V'chasov boy, and on the piece of wood it was written miklat. Okay. So on this note, where we say that even for the roitzchim, even for people who are ritzeach b'shoigi, we're not talking about the best types of people. That we try to help them out by giving them a signpost. So on that note, we say the following: So this is the idea that before even now, before you do something in halacha, you say a divrei agada, you say some sort of musar haskel, some sort of lesson, hashkafic, a musar lesson that can before you start. So the Gemara over here says Rav Chama B'Chanina, the Amoyer Rav Chama B'Chanina, pasach la piskal lahai parash namihacha. When you would be doirish, when you would doirish the parashas roitzchem, the parish of Ari Miklat, he would start off with the following piece of agada. Mihacha. The pasuk says, Toiv v'yosha Hashem. Okay, the pasuk says, "Toiv v'yosha Hashem." Hashem is good and straight, and therefore Yoyrech Hatam Badarach. So this is referring to the Yoyrech Hatam Badarach means that even the sinners, even people who are ritzeach b'shoigeg, he shows them the way. He has signposts. So the lesson from this is in lechatoim Yoyreh. If this is the case for chatoim, for people who do averos, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu shows them the way. All the more so for tzaddikim, people who don't have the aveira of killing b'shoigeg. Means all people who are guilty or innocent of this aveira. Rashi, okay, we'll do Rashi later. Shimon ben Lakish pasach lapishkalai parashta. When Reb Shimon ben Lakish would be doirish parasha straight from the sugi of Ari Miklat, he would start off with a different lesson. Mehacha. He would be doirish the pasuk which says Vasher loit sadav alikim in aliyadiv v'goyim. Right, the pasuk which talks about Ari Miklat. In Parashas Mishpatim, the first time so the pasuk says Vasher lo tzada. First it says right? The pasuk says if someone kills b'mezid and I think the next pasuk says but someone who's not killing b'mezid. Rather, but the way it says shogeg, the way it describes shogeg is by saying v'likim in aliyadai. Hashem put it into his hands. Right? That it happens just from Hashem. The chura, even someone who kills b'shogeg is not v'likim in aliyadai. There's a certain level of bechira, he's doing something wrong, otherwise he wouldn't get punished, right? If it was a total what's happens v'likim in aliyadai, that we're blaming that Kadosh Baruch Hu and making the person kill b'shogeg. So he explains the taka, when a person kills b'shogeg the first time, it's not v'likim in aliyadai. What we're talking about over here is when someone kills b'shogeg without edim, and he doesn't go to galus because no one's forcing him to go to galus. Maybe the girl Adam wasn't even around, so didn't even know that he killed the person. So he gets free from the einish of galus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to make sure that he goes to galus. So what's he do? He does the following. V'likim in aliyadai says, I go to Bach Aleph, Zel Shama Kasov, Kasha Yoimar. It's another pasuk in Shmuel Aleph, Kasha Yoimar Mishal HaKadmoini Mersham Yitzi Resha. Right? Which refers to the Mashal HaKadmoini, means the Mashal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter, has in his Torah, it says Mersham Yitzi Resha. From Mersham will come out wicked, which means to say that Kadosh Baruch Hu orchestrates that someone who's a Rasha, Vaita, he'll have a wicked act will come out of him. What are we talking about here? What's pshat in this pasuk? Mashal HaKamoni Mitzrayim Yetziresh. Makkos medaber. V'shnei bnei adam shahargu es hanefesh. Two people killed somebody. Echad hari b'shogeg v'echad hari b'mezid. L'zaynein l'zaynein. Right? One guy killed b'shogeg. He's chayv gas. One guy killed b'mezid, and there was no aid to either of them. So they both get off free. So how does HaKadosh Baruch Hu make sure that there's justice? HaKadosh Baruch Hu mazmin on the fundik echad. HaKadosh Baruch Hu organizes, arranges that the guy who killed b'shogeg and the guy who killed b'mezid come to the same inn. They come to the same location. Zeh shareg b'mezid yoyshiv tachat hasulam. The guy who killed b'mezid sits underneath the ladder. Zeh shareg b'shogeg yored b'sulam v'noifal al v'harga. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu orchestrates that the guy who kills b'shogeg should fall on the guy who killed b'mezid and kill him. And therefore, everything works out. Everyone gets the punishment that they deserve. Zeh shareg b'mezid nerek. The one who kills b'mezid ends up getting killed by who? By the person who killed b'shogeg already once but didn't get galus. And now there's edim, right? This one who kills b'shogeg is now goyla because in this situation there was edim by the punda. So this is pshat when we say v'likim in aliyadi. V'likim in aliyadi means the second time the person kills b'shogeg, HaKadosh Baruch Hu arranges that he should kill b'shogeg so that he can get punished for the original avera that he did the first time he killed b'shogeg. And he arranges it in such a way that the person who gets killed also deserves to get killed because he killed b'mezid without edim. Okay, let's see Rashi. Pasuk Piskach Sheiretz Lidush Parshas Reitz Moya Maschel Kain. V'likim in aliyadai. Zeh Shama Kazu Kashiyem Mashal Kanmeni Mersham Yetziresha. Mashal Kanmeni ha Torah. The Mashal Kanmeni refers to the Torah. Shehi Mashal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's the Mashal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kanmeni Shalayim is called Kanmeni because he's the first entity of the world. V'hi Amra Mersham Yetziresha. And the Torah says, "Mersham Yetziresha," that from bad people comes out bad deeds. How can it be that Kadosh Baruch Hu is mamtzi michshel adam lachta? Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't cause anyone to do averis. Ella, we're talking about a specific case. They show shneim rishoim. They were already rishoim. The person who kills was chayiv galus. There's no aid, so he never got galus. The person getting killed, chayiv misa was chayiv misa. The ain aid b'davar loy ner. The Kadosh Baruch Hu mezamnon the fundik echad. Kadosh Baruch Hu organized that they be in the same location. But Makkos without the community, they noifal al v'harga v'yesh edim. And here there are edim. The yigal karchay, and here he's going to be forced to go to galus even if he doesn't want. Okay. So now we're talking. He killed b'shogeg without edim.
How did he kill the first time?
There's a certain negligence. What do you mean how? It's not pure bechira. It's not pure me'elikim in aliyadeh. There's a certain negligence. You did something wrong. You weren't being careful.
First time wasn't being careful.
Yeah, wasn't being careful. Exactly.
Shogeg is not careful. Shogeg is a mistake.
But there's a certain element of negligence. Otherwise, you wouldn't be chayiv galus, right? Should have been more careful. You should have been more responsible.
Like the case of the Ashba.
Yeah. So now the Gemara continues with the somewhat related topic about the I guess Mersham Yetziresha maybe. That's the connection, yeah. That the Rasham bad people, that Kadosh Baruch Hu lets people do averis, right? There's not Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't cause people to sin. It doesn't stop people from sinning either, right? We have a makkah in Torah, in the Torah part of Tanakh. in the Nevi'im part of Tanakh and in the Ksuvim part of Tanakh, that the way that a person chooses to go, HaKadosh Baruch Hu lets him go, he doesn't stop him. Min HaTorah d'ksiv lo yisei lichimayim. Min HaTorah, the marker is when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Bilam, don't go with them to curse the Yidden. But later, once he saw that he was insistent, that Bilam really wanted to go, so Ksiv, kum lechi itam. Eventually, he said, go with them. Ultimately, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that you really want to do something, he'll let you do it. He'll let you do it. Min anvim d'ksiv ani Hashem elekecha melamedcha lohoyel madrichacha b'derech telech. Literal translation of the passage is, I'm Hashem, you're God. Melamedcha lohoyel, I teach you in a way that will benefit you. Madrichacha b'derech telech, and I guide you in the way that you shall go. But Pashtus means I guide you in the proper way that you should go. But here we're understanding Madrichacha b'derech telech means I let you go in the way that you want to go, whatever that may be, even if it's not what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. He lets you do what you want to do. He doesn't stop you from doing Averis. And the Makkos in Ksuvim for this idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu lets people go along the path that they've decided to go, even if it's not a good path. The passage says, Im leleitzim hu yalitz v'lanovim yitin chen. Im leleitzim, meaning that if a person wants to connect himself to leitzonim, hu yalitz, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will let him do it. He'll be able to. He'll be able to act with litzonos and to behave. V'lanovim yitin chen. But to those people who want to be anovim, they want to behave properly, yitin chen, he'll give chen. Chen, how do you translate chen? Huh? No, I think so. Chen is like grace in English. I think that's the word. Okay. Rashi. The way that you chose to go. We don't stop. Okay. So now we're going to go into a different topic, which is a topic of whether the Goyal Adam is chaya for killing the person on the way to Golos. And the reason why we bring it here is because if you're
interesting, but the third is that he's asking them permission. Let's not asking them.
Yeah. And the Torah is a stronger right. Even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu earlier on said no, then he said yeah. Even though it was clear that he didn't want, and he said he didn't want, ultimately he kind of told him mamish that you're allowed to go. With Bilam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu communicated with him directly. Now we turn to the topic of Goyal Adam, where the Goyal Adam is chayav for killing the Harig B'Shoigeg on his way to Galus. And the reason why we bring it here is because the Mishnah talks about the fact that we moisen and shnei talmid chachamim. So we're going to bring this Mishnah as a raya, one way or the other, as we'll soon see. So that's the connection why we're bringing it. A Ritzeach who was Goyal Le'ir Miklat, or Mitzoya Goyal Adam, and the Goyal Adam finds him. I think the way Rashi explains it is that he finds him on the way to the Ir Miklat, right? You could read the Rav Huna to say to me, Ritzeach Shegal Ir Miklat, Ritzeach who went to the Ir Miklat, Mitzoya Goyal Adam, the Goyal Adam finds him in the Ir Miklat and he kills him. Potter. That's not. I'm pretty sure that if you in the Ir Miklat, he's takachaya for killing him. But we're talking about where he's killing him on the way. It says Goyal Ir Miklat, Mitzoya Goyal Adam, v'hargoy, as Rashi explains, on the way to Galus. Potter is Potter. Why? Because Savas the Gemara explains that he holds the veloy ein mishpat mavis. When the pasuk says in Parashas Shoftim, it was Shoftim, Shoftim, I think, yeah. And Yud of Goyal Adam acher yitzech yechem lavavi v'si goy ki yir ba'der. Yeah, the reason, yeah, we're concerned with the possibility the Goyal Adam is going to run after the yitzech yechem lavavi when he's very is hot-headed, he's burning, he's annoyed, and he's angry, and he's going to reach him. Then it says the passage says that he's not chayiv misa, and it continues because he wasn't a sign, he killed b'shoigeg. The pashtus, I think means that the harig b'shoigeg is not chayiv misa. So we're telling the harig b'shoigeg to go to Golos because you need to save yourself from the Goyal Adam who might kill you, and you're not chayiv misa. He's not chayiv misa because kiloi soinehula. But the Gemara explains here that according to Rabbi Veloy Ein Mishpat Mavis Begoyal Adam hu dichsev. Veloy Ein Mishpat Mavis is actually talking about the Goyal Adam. It's all penir the Goyal Adam acher itzeach v'kol nefesh Veloy Ein Mishpat Mavis means the Goyal Adam won't be chayiv misa for killing the ritzeach. Veloy Ein Mishpat Mavis b'ritzeach hakas medabes. So the Bryce, sorry. Veloy Ein Mishpat, sorry, I skipped the line. Amr of 100 says Goyal Mikol Matzay Goyal Adam Pat Kesava. The Gemara explains that he holds Veloy Ein Mishpat Mavis Begoyal Adam hu dichsev. That the Veloy Mishpat Mavis is talking about the Goyal Adam. Rashi would explain the exact cheshbon, how it fits into the passage. But at the moment, yeah, Veloy Mishpat Mavis, even though it sounds like otherwise. So now the Gemara asks a kash from a brisa. How can Rav Huna say the Ritzeach Shegal Le'ir Miklat, that the Goyal Adam finds him on the waist potter, because Veloy Mishpat Mavis refers to the Goyal Adam, that the Goyal Adam is not chayiv misa for killing the Hayreg. We've seen a brayso otherwise. Maybe the brayso is as follows: that when the pasuk says v'lo mishra mavis, it's not talking about the goyal adam. The goyal adam taka would be chai misa. V'lo mishra mavis means the roitzeach who kills b'shoigi is not chai misa because he killed b'shoigi. So hakosim adam. That's what the pasuk is referring to. So the Gemara asks, the brayso asks on itself, Ata oim b'ritzeach oyin elu b'goyal adam. You're telling me it's a ritzeach. Maybe taka is a goyal adam. So the brayso answers, what do you mean? When it continues, the pasuk says that he's not a hater, he's not an enemy of his from yesterday and the day before. It's clear it's talking about the ritzech. It's explaining why the ritzech is not culpable. So it must be that earlier when it says is also talking about the ritzech, right? And is a biur. Because he's not an enemy, he didn't come amazing, and that's why he's not chayim misas. It's clear. So this is a kasha on Rav Huna who said that is talking about the goyal adam, and the goyal adam is part of from misa. The Gemara answers, you're right, meaning this price is taka kasha on Rav Huna, but who the amiki high tana? It's to the kitano. In other words, Rav Huna is going like a different tana who taka says otherwise. We have a brisa which says like Rav Huna. Although this brisa is against Rav Huna, we have another brisa which supports Rav Huna. The Tanya, as we learned in the brisa, the pasuk says the goyal adam akasim v'dava. The brisa says that he's parted from misa. He's not talking about the ritzeach being parted from misa, but taka is talking about the goyal adam being parted from misa. And now the brisa challenges itself and says, what do you mean? How do you know it's the goyal adam? Maybe it's taka talking about the ritzeach and saying that the ritzeach is parted from misa because he kills b'shoigeg. So here the brisa darshan exactly the opposite of what he said earlier, and says, since the pasuk continues, and it says, and there it's talking about the ritzech and explaining why the ritzech is not culpable, why the ritzech is not chai misa. Earlier part of the pasuk which says, Bal Korach has to be talking about somebody else. Period. Yeah, yeah. Even though it doesn't fit into chat, yeah. Does say ki?
That is his key.
V'lo mishpa mavas ki lo yisayna. Yeah, you'll see Rashi's going to explain. When the first time we explain. Okay, let's just go a little further, just to the end of the end of this piece, which is talking about whether the goyal adam is chayv misa. Now the Gemara asks a kash from the Mishnah. Now we learned to the Mishnah. Yeah, you asked earlier, why do we give shnei talmidei chacham and why don't we give to?
Because the Gemara, the other shit is
what are you saying?
Because changes, but
where?
The first shit there.
Yeah.
Says
Rav Huna or the first brisa? Same thing. Yeah. That's the lashon of pasuk, or it's talking. It's not in our pasuk.
It would work better with.
Yeah, if it was separate.
You say that it's the same. And talking about the same thing.
It fits in to say that it's talking about the goyal adam.
Yeah.
The ritzeach, I mean.
You don't say key.
No, but the truth is, it says who even by.
It doesn't say who.
It says who by the ritzeach hakasim medame.
No, but when he quotes the pasuk, it says v'hu lo yisayna.
In which case, in the case when we're talking about ritzeach hakasim medame. Yeah, go back. What you're saying is the other way around. I don't think.
Talking about the goyal adam. Sorry.
Yeah. It doesn't fit. Adrabah, according to ritzeach hakasim medame, key would work better.
No, but then it's duplicate. He's trying to say that.
Key is a biur.
You can't say
You're saying who is a vava makasha? It connects it. It's all one thing. The key also sounds like it's one thing. The key also sounds like it's one thing. No. Loya mishra malves key.
If you say
it's all one pasuk. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. That's true. You're right.
Okay, so the two different girsayos are going to be whether. Yeah, but it can't be that second part of the Hulei Sonim Mishoshim because there's no connection. There's no connection to the Veloy Mishpamavas. Yeah. Okay. So now the Gemara brings a Mishnah. Yeah, the Mishnah says Moisei Shnei Talmidei Chacham Shemi Yaganu B'derech Yidabrei Lo. The Moisei Shnei Talmidei Chacham. So the Gemara understands why you need two Talmidei Chachamim. My love, the Masrubei. They're there in order to warn the Goyal Adam, the Ikatel Bar Ketalahu. They're going to actually prevent the guy from killing the guy. They're going to prevent the guy Adam from killing by warning him and saying that if you kill, you chayiv misa, and that's a kasha against Rav Hunu says Eina Mishpa Mavas, right? That the Goyal Adam is not chayiv misa. So the answer is no. Loi Kidatanya, like we learned in the Brisa explains the Mishnah more barich and says v'yidaber of dvorim haruim loi. They talk to him dvorim haruim loi, things which should be fitting him. Oimrim loi al tinek by minek sheifchit damim. Don't behave like him as if he's a murderer. It was by accident. So now we have Rameh, which we also had in the Mishnah. Rameh says, no, you don't hand over to Talmidei Chachamim. But so far, this is already the answer, yeah? In other words, that the Shnei Talmidei Chachamim is not a raya that it's chayiv misa the goyal adam, because the Shnei Talmidei Chachamim aren't there for hasra purposes. They're there just to calm him down and to say, don't kill him. That Rameh says you don't need Talmidei Chacham because he can talk for himself. The Chacham is back to him. What do you mean harbi shlichus oisa? Meaning to say that it's more effective when somebody can't do something himself. Other people can often do what the person can't do for himself. That's Rashi. Excuse me. Yeah. Rav Huna says that the goyal adam akasim medaber. Does the guys going to keep this gersa? Where is it? The goyal adam hu dichsev. Okay. So this is pshat in we're dealing with Rav Huna now, yeah. Who says that the goyal adam is taka eloi mishamavis. 10 years of goyal adam acharit seif v'siga b'kar nafesh v'lo yisyami beis. You won't be afraid of beis din. In other words, you won't be afraid of killing kiloi mishamavis. The end of the pasuk continues and says kiloi soine. If soif hamikra oime kiloi soine, which sounds like it's going behemshech, which wouldn't fit if it's the goyal adam. Musaf al roisha is going on the beginning of the pasuk. And you're the goyal adam. And I'm telling you to prepare for him the way. In other words, that the right. 1 second. This is Yutes Vav. So the whole Hamshah talking about Derek Shlashta, etc., etc. Pen years of Goyal Adam Acher Itzeach. And the Kilo Soino is going at the beginning of the earlier psukim where it says why we're preparing him, why we're giving him an air mikvah to save himself, because Kilo Soino lemit moshosh. That's the Goyal Adam Akasim Medaber pshat. The Bryce which says Britzeach Akasim Medaber is ganz pashav. Hachikam Panyud V'Siga V'Ko V'Hu Lo Yehoya Roy Lamaves Kilo Soine. Right? Lo Mishra Maves means he's not. V'Hu Lo Yehoya Roy Lamaves Kilo Soine Hoya Lari V'Lo Hargami Das. Haritzeach Amor Shein LeMishpa Maves. Right? The Ritzeach is Amor Shein LeMishpa Maves. V'Lo Yitzarich Lich B'Shvila V'Lo Mishpa Maves because it says Kilo Ki Hu Lo Soine. So then when it says the beginning of the passage where it says when it says V'Lo Mishpa Maves must be talking about the Goyal Adam. Harbi Shlichus Oisa Devarim Shein on Nasam Al Yidei Adam, things which can't be done through the person himself. Nasam or Miskablim Al Yidei Harbi Shluchim can be effective when you use many Shluchim, and that's why we give to Talmidei Chachamim. Okay, weiter in the Gemara. Amar, so we go back to the Bryce. The Bryce says that Talmidei Chachamim would tell the Goyal Adam that Bishkog, don't kill him. Bishkog ba ma'asiliyad. Amar Bishkog ba ma'asiliyad. Fred Gemara Pshita. It's obvious even Mezid Bar Golos. If he's running to Golos, in other words, the fact that he's running to Golos should be enough of a raya to the Goyal Adam that he's b'shoigeg. In other words, what are the Talmidei Chachamim adding? Like when they tell the Goyal Adam, don't kill him, he was b'shoigeg. He knows he's b'shoigeg, otherwise he wouldn't be running to Golos. Even Mezid Bar Golos, would he be going to Golos? Fit me, or Rashi says, yeah. Since he's Goyal for sure is higher. In other words, what the Talmidei Chachamim say? My answer is, and no. If he was Mezid, he would also go to Golos.
Then you wouldn't put the Talmidei Chachamim.
Huh?
It was amazing you wouldn't put the Talmidei Chachamim.
Why not? Always talk to Talmidei Chachamim.
So the Talmidei Chachamim going to say is Shay.
All right. Yeah, no. You're right. You made a mistake. I hear your question. Maybe the Goyal Adam doesn't know that much. But the basic thing is that the yeah, no. I hear the question. Let's see the Gemara. I'll go back in a second to the question. Let's first see what the Gemara says. And yeah, I'm a Marbish Gagaba Maitz the other. Pshit even made by Golos. In other words, from the some fact that he's going to Golos must be this B'shoige. Was it Tamid Chacham telling the Goy Adam that he's B'shoige? If he was B'mezi, he wouldn't be going to Golos. The Gemara says, and Tani we tackle into the Bryce. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Oima B'tchila Echa Shoige V'Chamez Magdim Lari Miklat. The Taka, right? We see this in the Mishnah as well. Here we're bringing a Bryce. Tosis addresses the question why we bring from the Bryce and not from the Mishnah. Maybe we'll talk about it in a minute. But Akopani, we bring a Bryce which says at the beginning, before anything, a Shoigin Amazing would go to Ari Miklat. Based on Shochin and Mavina, Mishan Based would then go and take the person out of Golos. Mishan is Chai Misar Gu, Shanam Vashokos in the area of Lakos, Mishav Nasti Sabiya Biad Goladam Amaze. Misha Loin is Chai Patru, someone who's not Chai Misa, they would exempt him, they would patch him. Shanamar Vitzila Edas Ritzech Miyad Goladam. And Mishan is Chai Golos, in other words, if it was an oinus, that's what Mishan is Chai Patru means. If it was an oinus, that he's not Chai Misa and he's not Chai anything, then Vitzila Edas Ritzech Miyad Goladam, in other words, they would inform the Goladam that he's an oinus, and therefore, if you kill him, you're going to be Chai Misa. Mishan is Gai Golos, Maxir Nois, Limkoim, Shnam Vishiva is Oisai Ha'edo Al Ir Miklata Shenas Sham. That is the Bryce. So now we'll just finish off the Bryce. We say Rabbi Oimer. Rabbi says, no, you're wrong. Just because you have a raya from the pasuk which says Veshiva Sa'eda Al Ir Miklata Shenas Shama, right? Or V'Sholchuzing the Iroi, sorry, V'Lochvois Misham, right? But not to be Agodam, you have a Metzias where it's not a raya that a Mezid has to go to Golos. It's a raya that Mezidin did go to Golos. Rabbi holds that the Mezidin went to Golos, but wrongfully so, not that they had to. Then that was the meaning that the Mezidim would run to Golos, and Bezin would have to make sure to seed out to slap them out. But don't bring me a raya from the pasuk says the Sholchos in the Irvilach is Misham Nas to be Ois Biad Goel Adam that Mezidim were chayiv to go to Golos. Rabbi Yirmi Atzman ain't going Kisvurin in Echad Shegevach Amazing Cultus. They thought that Echad Shegevach Amazing Cultus. V'heina in Yoidin, they didn't know the truth. Shebashoyu Cultus Amazing in Cultus. What the Gemara is saying, I think the Teretz really works both according to Rabbi and the Chacham. Since the Ma'isa Mezidim would run to Golos, whether Al Pidin or whether Shalei Al Pidin, the Goel Adam might think that the person going to Golos wouldn't know that he's B'shoigig. Tamid Chacham would come and say that he's B'shoigig. But Rabbi Rosenberg is asking a very valid, strong question, that just a second, if you have the only time the Tamid Chacham were given to somebody who's Chayav Golos. In fact, the Rishonim explained that the Tamid Chacham were given the second time, just to strengthen your question. But the Tamid Chacham wouldn't. I'm asking you a question even stronger, yeah? When originally people ran to Golos, they didn't get two Talmidei Chachamim to go with them. After they went, the Bezin took them out and was done that the Shoige goes to Golos, goes back to Golos, then they would get Talmidei Chachamim. Makes sense, right? Right? It's just, who's Moishin Shnei Talmidei Chachamim? Bezin already been done about, which means the second time. And if that's the case, then we're back to original question, L'chura, that what's the L'chura, if the Goy Adam sees a guy being accompanied by two Talmidei Chachamim, he knows that it was B'shoigig already. Yeah. I'm going to look it up. I'll get back to you. I don't know. I think it's a very strong question, yeah? If it was the first time round, so you could say, even then you could ask your question, right? Which is that the Maisa who's getting Talmidei Chacham, only if it was really B'shoigeg, the Talmidei Chacham are going, right? And you're telling me that maybe he thinks it's B'mezid, right? In other words, from the fact that the two Talmidei Chacham were there, is a right B'shoigeg. Why do they need to say that it was B'shoigeg? Okay. Let's go a little bit, let's try and finish. Yeah, we have a little bit more time. Rashi. Pshita, given to Goyla Vade B'shoigeg, the B'mezid Harvichi Goyla. You've seen the beginning din of Reitzchem, the Ikra, right? Zehu, this is it. Both the Shoigi and Amazing. The Yolif time and Bikra. We learn out of the pasuk, which says, it's interesting. Rashi is saying something which the Bryce didn't say. The Bryce has a raya from a pasuk of Sholchuzing the Iroi, the Lochway Semisha. But Rashi says it's taka another marker, which is a pasuk says v'chiyah ish shein l're'eh v'arav le'v'kamala v'goymer. V'nos al achas ha'arim. The pasuk v'nos is even said in context of v'chiyah ish shein. Mashma im harge b'kavan yonos. Siv basei b'shol chuzini. Rabbi Yirmi loy makasav sheyig elohu toy v'goyler. That's what he taka would do. Limetcha kasav sheyik l'chum yisham yargu. Okay, Rabbi says no. The Rabbi's. We understand Rabbi very well. The pasuk doesn't say anywhere that he's mechuyev to go to Golos. It says v'nas that he does run. The Sholchos in the area, they take him out. It doesn't mean that he's chayev Golos in the first place. Now, upon him, that's Makkos Tanakam and Rabbi. Right in the Gemara, Amar Rav Elazar. Yeah, Irsha Ruba Roitzchem Eina Koilatas. If you have an air mikla, which has the majority of the city now has Roitzchem living there, Eina Koilatas. It doesn't serve as an Ari mikla. Why? Shanema, it says in the pasuk. Yeah, if you look at Mem, this is passing Yeshua. The Nasal Achaz Marmei when it came to actually setting up the Ari Mikvah, so there's a parish in Yeshua which discusses it, besides the Psukim in Torah. So the Nasal Achaz Marmei Elav passage here, the Dibur Ba'azni Zikne Ahi, Es Tavara V'Asva Yisrael Elim Nasne Makam Yashrimon. There's a concept of Dibur Ba'azni Zikne Ahi. So he speaks in the ears of the Zikne Ahi. So Es Tavarov, his words, meaning he tells them the story that I killed the Shaygin. So from that, from Isher Rebbe Tzchmeni Kiletz, Shenema v'Dibur was that he is Dvarav. You know, it's Dvarav, Eloi Shehush v'Divrei and the Dvarav. We learn from the passage Dvarav that it's his words, it's his time, it's his story that he killed B'Shaygei, that it's not their story, meaning they also didn't kill B'Shaygei. Eloi Shehush v'Divrei and the Dvarav. But if it's an Isher Rebbe Tzchim, then it's not Kiletas. But Amar Rebbe Lazar. Rebbe Lazar says that from this passage we learn something else. The Irsha Ein Bazakanim Ein Kiletas Dib'inon Ziknei Ir Velek. That an ear which is doesn't have zakanim taka is not koila because the inan ziknei ear velak. It's interesting that we say it in context over here of the ziknei ha'ir, which is said by Yeshua lechura. It doesn't have to be from the pasuk in Yeshua because also pasuk in Dvar is it Dvarim? Pasuk in Dvarim, yeah, in Shoftim says v'sholchu ziknei ira. Hakopanim, whichever way you go about it, the pasuk ziknei ira is said in the context of Ari Mikla, so we know. According to Rabbi Elazar, Ir she'ein bazakanim is not kailatas. You need ziknei air. Part of the din of Ari Mikla is the ziknei air. Take it shalchu ziknei air v'lach misham. And if you don't have ziknei air, then there's no din Ari Mikla. So now we go on this topic of Ir she'ein bazakanim. We continue a little bit in this topic, and we talk about other places where the Torah says ziknei air, and also whether it means that you need ziknei air. It's just the mitzvah. If there's ziknei air, this is what they should do. If there's no ziknei air, it doesn't mean you can't do the din at all. But first we talk about Miklat. Itmar, She'ein Bazakanim, Rabbi Ami, Rabbi As, is Machlekes Rabbi Ami, Rabbi As. You know, the thing that Rabbi Lazar said is the Machlekes between Rabbi Ami, Rabbi As. Chadam Mekilat is Chadam Ein Kilat. Machlekes. One says that She'ein Bazakanim does work as an Ari Miklat, and one says it doesn't. The man Dam Ein Kilat is only says it doesn't work. We know why. Being Ziknei Velaka, just like Rabbi Lazar said earlier. The man Dam Kilat is only says that Ari Miklat which doesn't have Ziknei Air does Kilat mitzvah ba'alma. So mitzvah ba'alma that the Ziknei Air should so that should be Zakanim. But if there's no zakanim, it still works. It's still kilatas. Now we say other dinim. It's the shitasam. Whenever it says ziknei in the pasuk, is it likuva or is it just the mitzvah? Meaning that if you have ziknei, this is what should happen. But if there's no ziknei, it doesn't mean the whole din goes down the wayside. Yeah. So one says you do a din ben with in such a city. One says you can't. Why not? Right. The pasuk says in Parashas Kiseitze, the safsu by Aviv Imavetzio Oisel Ziknei Iro. They have to take the ben tzaymer to Ziknei Iro V'Sham Kaima, and then they say Benenu Zaymer, etc. So it sounds like you need Ziknei Iro. So the man da ein nasabam and saymer bin ziknei relik. The man da nasabam and saymer mitzvah ba'alma. It's mitzvah ba'alma. I guess in a situation where they don't, they can go to a different bezdin, a different town. Mitzvah is to take to the ziknei ira. If there's no ziknei ira, it doesn't mean we don't do the whole ben saymer. It's just mitzvah ba'alma. The irsha ein bazkenim. Another din is benegay to agla rufa. Rabbi Asi chadam meviyim agla rufa. The chadam einam meviyim agla rufa. The man da einam meviyim agla rufa bin ziknei ivelaka. Ziknei ira ivelaka. The man da meviyim agla rufa mitzvah ba'alma. It's a mitzvah ba'alma. Let's see Rashi. Sure, mitzvah ba'alma mitzvah shisham zakanim u'miuka ein ba zakanim nami kolta. I'm just thinking that l'chura, how does egla rufa work? You need the ziknei. It's part of the whole. Yeah, they say Yodenu leishachvar sadam hazeh, talking about the city which is nearby. So Yisroel asks a similar question. That the Mishnah says, "Egla rufa emoid elami ir sheyesh bebezdin." That the Shem has American the ikar yaris tuva b'chad mina yesh bezdin even the matz like mikad mikayim level. Hach American she'ein shom bezdin b'chad ha'reitzos mochas hechamrinas b'chamak hameid minay. Okay.
All falls into the gather of its kingdom.
It's kingdom is actually kind of chachma, no?